Hello and welcome back to Matt Hayes Tottenham blog and to another transfer news video after what has proven to be another whirlwind 24 hours for Tottenham in the transfer market. There's about 5 different stories to get through today, so I'm just going to jump straight into them with the confirmed deal from yesterday, which is Kyle Walker-Peters has joined Southampton on a loan deal until the end of the season. This is one, we were expecting him to go out on loan, but it did seem for a while as though it would be Crystal Palace where he would be going. We heard from Roy Hodgson himself saying he was very confident that deal could be done a few weeks ago, but they haven't beaten to it by Southampton. Walker-Peters will go down there now to the end of the season. There is no option or obligation to buy in that deal, so Walker-Peters will be rejoining Tottenham at the beginning of next pre-season, which I presume is the 1st of July. So it's a good move for him. He hasn't got much game time this season, and it didn't look like that was going to change anytime soon under Jose Mourinho. So he's going to go down there now. Cedric Soares of Southampton is expected to leave. That's from Ralph Hasenhüttl himself. So there could potentially be a decent bit of first team game time there for Kyle Walker-Peters if that Cedric Soares move to Arsenal does go through as expected. Now to the other side of fullback and Danny Rose. Newcastle have agreed a deal with Tottenham to sign Danny Rose on a loan deal. It's been known for a while that Danny Rose has wanted to go back to the north of England where he's originally from. He's said quite a few times he does feel a bit of homesickness every now and then, and he had said even recently that he was going to leave Tottenham at the end of his contract no matter what, but it looks as though that kind of has been accelerated a bit, and I'm sure Jose Mourinho not wanting to keep him if he isn't entirely dedicated to the long-term project at the club, which he self-confessed that he isn't. So that deal will be done. The deal that has been agreed in principle does not include an option or obligation to buy. But the fact that the line from Sky Sports said, as of yet, there is no option to buy, it does suggest there is potential for change in that deal. So we could potentially see Danny Rose leave on a permanent at the end of the summer to Newcastle if this loan move goes according to plan. Now, the third story is one that broke today, a real surprise one, and it's that Tottenham had made a late move to try and sign Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg from Southampton. We weren't really rumoured to be in the market for another midfielder this window. It seemed as though striker was our priority, so it did really come out of nowhere that we had made this move for Hojbjerg, and he's the Southampton captain and they're having a fairly decent season, so it was always a really optimistic and far-fetched move to try and get him in a deal that would have to be completed in a matter of 28 hours. But that one now does appear to be off. Sky Sports reporting that Tottenham are making Hojbjerg our primary summer target, so it seems as though that one was killed down very, very quickly. Tottenham accepting defeat in their pursuit of the player, and they're just putting that one to the side until the summer when he will be our number one target. I think it is a bit of a relief, to be honest, because Gianluca Di Marzio was on Sky Sports' transfer talk in the last week or so, and it was actually last Thursday when Ralph Hasenhüttl said he wasn't going to let any first team players leave this season. It was the same day Di Marzio was on transfer talk, and he was speaking about Arsenal and Everton, who were both also keen on Hojbjerg. And he reported that Carlo Ancelotti told him personally that Southampton wanted about £35 million for Hojbjerg, which I really do not think is a fee warranted by the quality of player. I think if we were going to pay that sort of money for Hojbjerg, it would be an absolute disaster, because that sort of money would have been better invested in Krzysztof Piatek, who, as I'll get on to in a minute, is about to join Hertha Berlin. So I was a bit intrigued by this story when it first came out, and he's someone who has won the Champions League, he's won the Bundesliga, he's a regular in the Danish national team, who are doing very well at the moment. So I was a bit, I wouldn't say happy with it, but I was kind of intrigued and open to the idea of signing a player like Hojbjerg. But given that valuation that Southampton have put on him, I do think it's a massive relief that that deal is off until the summer. And I presume when it gets to the summer, because there'll be more time for Southampton to find a replacement, and also there's a lot of complications when deals are done in the January window. I assume their price for the player will go down. I think I saw somewhere his contract actually expires at the end of next season, so we could even negotiate them down a bit further if that is one that we, according to Sky Sports, one that we are looking to complete in the summer. Now, moving on to the big one, and it is our endless and seemingly failing pursuit of a striker. We have lost Krzysztof Piatek. That's all but confirmed. He's in Berlin at the moment. He travelled there last night, and I assume he had his medical this morning. He's joining there for it's £22.8 million plus add-ons, which how Tottenham couldn't afford that, I will never know. It was a great chance to get a striker in, and I know a lot of the fans weren't particularly pleased with that target that we had. But personally, I would love to have seen him come in, and the fact that we did we seemingly put a lot of effort and kind of focused our attention on getting him in, and now so late in the window we have been pipped to it by, a team who are trying to stave off relegation in the Bundesliga. It's really embarrassing. It's disappointing. But Piatek will not be joining Tottenham. He's on the verge of joining Hertha Berlin. Now that brings us on to Willian Jose, and again, apparently we're back in the market for him. I didn't think there was much to the rumours when were linked to him last week. It was a load of reports came out in a space of about 48 hours. Talks of us making a bid that Real Sociedad were embarrassed by. It was so low. He's been left out of their squad the last 3 games they've played, and I think they said on the first one it was to kind of clarify his future, why he was left out. So there's definitely on their side some bit of confirmation that there could potentially be a transfer away from the club. But he's a 28-year-old striker, not really in the profile that Jose Mourinho has said he is looking for. And I wouldn't say he's at the level of quality that we would want to be bringing in. But at this stage, I think it's a case of just getting any striker in, getting any player that fits the bill, that target man that Mourinho wants. Because if we don't have one, we can say goodbye to top 4 if we're not already accepting that we have missed out on that this season. So potentially a bid coming for Willian Jose. There's a few minor sources reporting that a bid is on the way, but that's definitely one to keep an eye on. We are back in the market for Willian Jose. That brings us on to Olivier Giroud, and again one that came out of nowhere in the last couple of days. Unsurprisingly, Chelsea unwilling to do business with Tottenham, as they always seem to be. This one is up in the air a bit. I never really believed it was one that would go through, but there's talk of a loan deal now rather than a permanent, and whether or not there'll be an option to buy in that remains to be seen. But this one for Giroud, it could go either way at this stage, but personally I would expect that it won't happen this window. And now going on to the next striker that we have been linked to is an endless list of players. Of course, this not even going into detail on Zé Luiz, who we were linked with, who we were offered earlier in the season, Fernando Llorente, who Napoli offered to us. But the next one is Islam Slimani. He plays, of course, with Leicester. He's on loan at the moment, I think at Monaco, struggling for game time over there. He's been linked with United already this window. But that one seems to be off. United pursuing other targets. But we're, according to Sky Sports, he is a target for us. Again, I don't know if it is a loan deal or a permanent deal, but whichever it is, it's certainly one I can say I don't want to see happening, because he had a really good record prior to his move to Leicester, but when he did come to the Premier League, he really struggled for form. I think I saw some stats, he did something like 50 games and 6 goals or something really poor like that. He had a dreadful return, and he doesn't really fit that profile of a target man that Mourinho does apparently want. So if this one is true, I'd be really, really surprised, and I really hope it's not a deal that does go through. But that just does beg the question: which striker can we get? Which one are we likely to get? And who is the main target? It's just this deal, or the deal we're looking to get done for a striker, seems to have turned sour very, very quickly. Piatek for the whole window was a player that just fit the bill perfectly. Sure, he hasn't had the best form in the last 6 months or so, but he's playing with an AC Milan team who have been quite disappointing in the league this season, so you can't entirely pin the blame on him. But now we're in a case where there's a little over 24 hours left in this window. Even a player like Olivier Giroud, who a lot of the fans don't want, it doesn't look like we can even get him. We lost our main target to a subpar German team, and we're being linked with a loan move for a team that over the last few years we've been miles ahead of. But of course, Leicester, now sitting in third in the Premier League, are doing quite a bit better than us, and we're being linked to a player that they don't see fit to be in their first team. So it's been a good window up until now. We've managed to bring in a midfielder that we desperately needed in Gedson Fernandes. Whether or not he's going to be that holding midfielder that we do need, only time will tell on that. Of course, then we signed Lo Celso on a permanent deal, which I think was a great piece of business, saving 7 million from waiting in the summer. And there was just those last 2 days when it was getting Lo Celso in permanent, finally seeing Eriksen go, and then managing to sign Steven Bergwijn. It was a really good couple of days, and our attentions turned to this, and now the pursuit of a striker has just it's turned to crap fairly quickly. And there'll be a lot of fans who will be looking at Daniel Levy and saying, well, he went out, he spent 54 million in 2 days on Lo Celso and Bergwijn, and has essentially agreed to pay 55 million for Gedson in the summer of 2021. But the player that we did need was a striker, and it looks like he's missed out on that. His negotiating hasn't worked this time. He was trying to get this loan with option to buy deal to get Piatek, but AC Milan were adamant they wanted to sell him now, and we have missed out on that target. And even then, looking at those first 2 stories I was speaking about, we need to strengthen fullbacks. That's something we've been talking about from the summer, but now we've weakened both of our fullback positions with Walker Peters and Danny Rose both going out on loan. So, you know, he has invested in the squad this window. There's no doubt about that. But I just don't think he's invested intelligently enough to warrant the praise that I'm sure he'd be expecting, having put this money into the club. But, you know, there's still 24, 28 hours left, whatever it is. A lot can be done in that time. There's no doubt about that. That January window can always be crazy like that. Deadline day can be crazy like that when deals get done in a matter of hours. But right now, it's not looking too good. The positivity has certainly died down a bit in the fan base. Certainly, I'm not as positive as I would have been 2 or 3 days ago. But look, hopefully we can get a striker in. Leave down in the comments below your opinions on all these stories I've spoken about. There's so much to get through. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, thanks for watching.